even if some of you have been listening to some of the chit chat, some of us have actually known Dave for a long time. In fact, Dave and I both joined Keller Williams International in 1996. He has been a master trainer for 30 years in real estate. And before, he's been an executive leader with Century 21 before Gary persuaded him very strongly to come and join us at Keller Williams, and was responsible for an awful lot of the training that I took both as an agent and as a team leader. He co-wrote the MREA, that's the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book, or the Red Book, the MREI, which we'll be focusing on next year as well as a group, to really focus in on investments, Shift, and Your First Home. And with that, it's my distinct honor and privilege to welcome one and only Dave Jenks. We're going to have a wonderful afternoon with him on this next hour as he talks to us about Why List with Me. And welcome to the Alliance Group, Dave.
Hey, I'm honored. Thank you to you and Tipper and the gang for bringing me in. You know, you were among the pioneers. One of the people asked, what was the biggest challenge that you and Gary and Mo had in launching this company? And I said, it was to find players. And I don't mean agents. Yes, recruiting agents has always been number one, and really good agents, but we needed leaders that had the sophistication and the awareness to really implement the Keller Williams system, because it was a whole new way of doing business. And as I taught, as you know, in franchise systems orientation, I said, you know, Keller Williams is a Ferrari. You better know how to drive, or you're going to stall it out, crash it into the wall. You know, it's a high-speed performance machine, and, you know, look where it's come. What I want to do today, though, and I want to honor those that are here. Thank you for coming here, because one of the things that Gary and I really learned with each other and said when we began to build Keller Williams University back in 1996, and he said, Dave, what do you think differentiates the top highest producing agents from the others? And we talked about it for a while, and we agreed that they're learning based. They really open themselves to learning, and when they have a chance to even spend an hour or so with a guy like me with my experience and depth, they take that opportunity. You know, because they want to grow. And that's one of the things that modern neuroscientists who have studied high achievement, and I'll give you some names of interesting people in that regard, they've said there are really two kinds of people in achievement-oriented business. There's growth-oriented people, and there are stability-oriented people. And growth-oriented people believe they can learn more, they can build their skill, they can get better at what they do, and they can change their outcomes. The stability people say, I am who I am, what you see is what you get, telling it like it is, doing the best with what I've got. And there's nothing wrong with that. They take a little pressure off themselves when they do that, but they really stay stuck and they don't grow. And high achievers are like you. You're on this call, you're learning based. So let's dive in. Tray tables and seat backs in their upright and locked position, because here we go. What I want to do today is share with you a couple of things that unlocked my career. It's interesting. When I first got into the world of business, I had been in the world of higher education for many years, into my 30s. I'd been a professor, I'd been a teacher, and I got into the world of business, and my first job was VP of Sales and Marketing of a large graphic arts and printing company in Albany, New York. And I didn't know anything about sales or marketing. And a friend of mine said, well, the Dale Carnegie Institute has a course for salespeople that's supposed to be really good. So I went and took it. I'm a learning-based guy like you are. And wow, I learned that sales, and I know we say we're in service, but salespeople make things happen. In the world of selling, we operate at the highest level of human ability and accomplishment. We build trust. And particularly in an entrepreneurial business like with ours, we have the courage to work and do the work and only get paid when we get the work done. And so I learned that there's a set of skills in being able to influence other people, to get them to do what is good for them and also what you want them to do. And it's called the power of your words. Why list with me? And I want to share that with you, because what happened for me, that launched me into becoming a training director for Century 21, then a regional director for 3 states. Then they moved me to Dallas to be a divisional president of 7 states for Century 21. And I watched this little company growing down in Austin, Texas. And the closer I looked at it, because I always studied my competitors, and this was in the early 90s, I said, if I were going to design a real estate company, that's what it would look like. Not like this one I'm with, not like the world's #1 company at the time, Century 21, but big brand, corporate model. No, I love Gary Keller's commitment to agents and his very entrepreneurial business and his economic profit sharing model. I was just so impressed with that. So it was really good when 4 years later, I got a call from Mo Anderson, and she said, Gary, and I would like to have you on our team because we're building this company and we think you know more about real estate franchising than anyone we know, and also your ability to train and impact with agents. So I want to share that with you because that's the heart of what this business is. And the first thing I want to do is help you become a powerful listing agent. We say in MREA, it's leads, listings, and leverage. And listings are the name of the game because they are your brand. They are your credibility. When a sign goes up in the yard, you immediately have credibility with the neighborhood because they picked you to list. And then when it gets sold, you have greater credibility. And of course, the more that builds, particularly when you have more for sale signs and sold signs in a neighborhood, then you become the dominant agent and the one everyone wants to use. So, you list to last. Listings is the name of the game. Now, what I want to do is talk with you about how you articulate your value proposition, because all great salespeople, and this is what I had to learn in the Dale Carnegie Institute, you have to be able to be really articulate about why people should do business with you, why they should buy your product or your service, and in real estate, why they should list with you. And so it's really important to do work on the articulation of your value proposition, because that makes you the master of the art of influence. One of the things I will tell you is I learned this game of marketing and sales and influence and the power of your words. It empowered me as a leader. And when I came down to Keller Williams, I brought that to the table. We did Wealth Building Wednesdays. We did Millionaire Mondays. I remember a good friend of mine, one of my staff members in Century 21, Christy, went because her father worked with RE/MAX. She went with them. And she said, this was in about 2003. She said, Dave, I just came back from a meeting in Atlanta, and we spent a whole afternoon talking about how we could compete with Keller Williams. And they put among other people, they put your picture up on the screen, and they said, he's the wordmeister. He's the marketeer of Keller Williams. He's the one that tells people why they should join Keller Williams. Pay attention to him. So it's just interesting because I became a master of the art of influence, of how to influence other people and how to say things in powerful ways. And that's really what a great salesperson with a great presentation does. Now let's talk about this idea of a listing presentation. It's not a small thing. It may be the heart of your real estate business. I remember going to a big meeting that Mike Ferry put on, one of my early mentors in the business. And this was down in Scottsdale, Arizona. And there were probably about 2,000 people in the room. And Mike got up in front and said, we get paid for 3 skills: prospecting, presenting, and closing. And he said, which of those 3 do you think is the most important to a real estate agent's success? How many think it's prospecting? And virtually every hand in the place went up because it's Mike who teaches prospecting. And he said, no, it's not. How many think it's closing? Hanging in, answering all their questions, not taking no for an answer, getting them to sign on the dotted line. And, maybe half the hands went up. And he went, nope, it's presenting. He said, until you have mastered your listing presentation, you won't prospect. You won't know your value proposition. You won't know how to answer questions. You won't be confident. And the game of being a great real estate agent is confidence. And your confidence comes from mastering your listing presentation. So that's why we're going to focus on that today, how to build a world-class listing presentation. One of the things that we had to do when I was in Dale Carnegie was to graduate from the class. We had to give our sales presentation to everybody, to the whole class, in front of the class. And I would recommend that to any of you. At your sales meeting in your office, you should volunteer to give your listing presentation. Mostly as a challenge to you to be prepared, but we should not be embarrassed about giving our listing presentation in front of anybody. And if we've mastered it, we'll do that. Now, one of the things that people misunderstand and it is the power of your words, is scripts and dialogues. And just remember this, scripts are the poetry of selling. They are the most powerful ways to say things. As Gary Keller says, people have lived before us. People have sold real estate before us. People have been great salespeople before us, and they have passed down to us the way to talk, the way to explain what you do in the most powerful possible way. And we call those scripts and dialogues. But think about this. A lot of us love movies, right? We, binge on Netflix and do all this. And what are we really watching? We're watching a bunch of scripts. Screenwriters know how to write words, powerful dialogues down in a script, and then actors and actresses memorize those scripts. They don't add to them, they don't change them, they memorize them as they were written, and then they internalize them, and then they deliver them with emotional power. And we all believe in it, right? We love the stories, we love the energy, we love the anxiety and all of the emotional charge of it. Why? Because they've mastered their scripts. So if you're going to be great at communicating and influencing, you're going to have to master how you say things. And scripts, we'll talk later about how you use them, but scripts and dialogues are the poetry of sales and influence. Now, I'm going to refer you to a very powerful book by Richard Bayan, B-A-Y-A-N, called Words That Sell. He's a master copywriter. He's taken selling, he's taken the 50 or so major benefits for working with you. And he has written 30 or 35 different ways to say that. He has a whole section in the book on attention getters, what to do in your marketing to get people's attention. Also how to present yourself. What are the things you say about yourself? What are the words that describe who you are in a powerful way? We're going to talk more about that. Highly recommend it. And he has a second book called More Words That Sell. They're both good, but his original one, Words That Sell. Highly recommend it. I have it in my library, refer to it all the time. You get the feel for the poetry. You get the feel for way effective language works, and you start to use it in your own way, even in things that you really didn't memorize, right? Because the whole game we're playing is a confidence game. It's a self-confidence game. Every competitive sport is a matter of confidence. You hear athletes talk about, oh yeah, I'm confident in my putting right now. I'm feeling really good. Or you know what, my swing, I'm working on, my driver isn't feeling right. I'm not quite confident in that. Or my 3-point shot or my tennis, my forehand, all these competitive people, and we are in a competitive profession. So one thing I want to make clear to everyone is, people would come up to Gary and me and they'd say, well, this is real estate. It's not rocket science. And we go, oh, yes, it is. Done at the highest level, the best players, it's rocket science. It's brain surgery. This is not an easy business. What you need to know and the skills you need to build and the attitude and resilience you need to develop, tell you what, this is not an easy game to play. And I will tell you, because it's so competitive, there's so many people out there that we're competing for to get listings and be the one that people think of when they think of real estate. We have to build our confidence. Here's where confidence comes from: competence, not affirmations and self-talk, although you certainly can discourage yourself and panic yourself with self-talk. And you can encourage and support yourself with self-talk, but it doesn't create genuine, authentic confidence. What creates confidence is competence. You know what you're doing, you know the game, you know what you're talking about, and you've practiced it, and you are really good, and you know you're good. That's where self-confidence comes from. And I'm going to encourage you today to do the work it takes to become really confident in this business, because it makes all the difference in the world. And what it does is it gives you control for your career. When you master all these skills and you become a great listing agent, you control your destiny, your career. You can take it as big as you want. The hardest part in real estate is the first 12 transactions. And then if you can get to where you're doing maybe 20 or 30 a year, then the top is off. You go to MREA and study that, and you can take it as big as you want to. But the confidence is the key, and the competence of getting to your confidence is the key to get control of your career. All right, so let's dive in. Here's the thing: that first, the competence even goes deeper here. People do business with people they like, people they know, and people they respect. And to gain respect in this business, you have to master it. It's not an easy business, as I said. And there are knowledge, skills, and attitudes. That's what we used to teach in the Dale Carnegie course. We called it the Ask Triangle, that success is about attitude, skills, and knowledge. So what knowledge do people pay us for? Three things: contracts, finance, and property evaluation. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, one reason to list with me is I'm a master of contracts. There will be 75, 85 pages of legal documents before we get to the end of this transaction, and I will review those all in detail, make sure they're filled out correct, no mistakes, no one trying to take advantage of you, and you can be confident about signing those documents because I am a master of contracts. See, what a powerful statement to make in a listing presentation. I am a master of contracts. I had an agent, I think it was maybe 3 weeks ago, say, Dave, this was so powerful for me. I thought because I really didn't have a sales personality that I wasn't very confident about my sales presentation, but I'm a master of all the details of the business, the contracts, the finance, evaluating properties, doing CMAs. And I realized that's my confidence, and I need to share that with people. I need to tell them I'm a master of contracts. So become a master of contracts. You can't say this if it's not true. This is we need to know contracts and addendums and disclosures and all of the legal complexity of this business, which it is complicated. And it takes a lot of knowledge base to do this business well. Number two is, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm a master of finance. So when someone makes an offer on your property, I'll be able to know whether they can qualify. In fact, whether it's worth our while to take your home off the market because they can meet the terms that they've said they can. Why? Because I'm a master of finance. Now, when you do your buyer rep presentation, finance even becomes more important. And then there's property evaluation. We know the reason that I will get you the highest possible price is because I am a master of the marketplace and of property evaluation. I know what causes homes to sell. I know what prices they will sell for. And I know, even more importantly, how to make a home worth more and compete better in the marketplace. That's why, working with me, you will get the highest possible price because I'm a master of property evaluation. Now, I'm saying those things in a very assertive way because I want us to, in our listing presentation, to be able to say that, but also I want us to be able to have the competence to know that we can do this. Now, there's a whole bunch of complicated skills, and we're going to talk about them. One is that we're really great communicators and we know how to bond with and get along really well with people and listen carefully. We're good at presenting. We're going to talk about that today. We're going to show how you get really good at presenting your value proposition. And then, of course, we use the Y4C, 2 T's, right? Win-win or no deal, seek first to understand, together everyone achieves more. We use the Y4C, 2 T's to negotiate win-win agreements and deals. And then the final thing we develop over time in this business, they don't come easily, are the right attitudes. And there are 3 that I think are really important to selling. Intention, assertiveness, and commitment. Intention means that we get things done. We have goals. We go after our goals. We have disciplines. We have our 135, our 411. We make things happen and we get visions and we implement them, right? That's what entrepreneurs do. They see the possible and then they make it real, right? They are people of intention. So you want to be able to say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, one of the reasons to list with me is I'm a person of intention. What I set my mind to do, I get done. I accomplish things, I have goals, I accomplish those, I hold myself accountable. And that means when you list with me, I will make a commitment to you about getting it sold, and you can count on that because I'm a person of intention. Powerful. Be a person of intention. Have your written goals, have your accountability, stay on track, be a person of intention, and then let that show through in how you get things done for people. Second thing is, and this is a big one, assertiveness. See, I think almost everyone I know in real estate could be more assertive, not more aggressive. Don't confuse the two. Aggressive means you're in control and it's more emotionally driven. No, assertiveness means you stand up and speak your truth. You say what's right. You ask for what you want. You negotiate for what you want. You expect to be treated with respect, and you're willing to confidently assert who you are and what you want, right? That's what assertiveness is. I had to learn this myself. One of the stumbling points in my career when I was director of training for Century 21 and I wanted to become a regional director. And I looked at that and I knew I was not assertive enough. I was not a person, I was kind of laid back. I wanted everyone to like me. I cared about other people's attitudes about me, always wanted to get recognition. But I didn't stand up and speak my truth. I didn't stand up and ask for what I want. And so I started to learn those skills. I got a wonderful document called the Assertiveness Bill of Rights. And I started to become in my life more assertive, standing up for what I wanted, speaking my mind, right? Not putting other people down, but being able to stand up. I remember, for example, I was actually wanting to be a regional director. And the guy who had been the regional director where I was in Rochester, New York, I was his training director, left in 2 years. And for 2 years, he was a big VP of Century 21 out in California. And he was the one in charge of hiring new regional directors. So I applied for the job when it came open 2 years later in the region I was in. And I went in for an interview with him and I could tell he was getting ready to let me down. He said, Dave, you've got all these wonderful qualities. I really love the work you've done. But we have so many great candidates for this one. I could feel he was going to let me down. And I said, Marv, I just want to stop you right now and let you know that the man sitting across from you is not the same man that you left 2 years ago back in Rochester. This man is a leader. He's strong. He gets things done, and he will do an amazing job for you leading that region. I said that. And he hired me. He said, Dave, amazing, amazing. I get it. Why? Because I asserted who I was in a situation where I could have just laid back and gone with the, oh, well, I tried my best. No. So learn to be more assertive. And you say that to Mr. and Mrs. Seller. One of the things you'll find about working with me is I'm assertive. I'm not aggressive. I get along really well with people. I'm very diplomatic, get along very well, but I will always stand up for you. I will always make sure that your rights are protected and no one's going to take advantage of us. And you know why? Because I'm assertive. See, so you want to be able to make that kind of statement. And then finally, you're a person of commitment. One of the things that one of our early pioneers up in Colorado, he was the first one to take Keller Williams from Texas up to Colorado, and he taught me a really important lesson. He said, Dave, Tom Caldwell, his name was, he said, Dave, success in real estate is about doing what you say you'll do. Isn't that amazing? That's simple. He said, it's doing what you say you do. When you say do what you say you're going to do something, you do it. People learn to understand that you make commitments and make them happen. And that's important. Be a person who does get things done, who makes commitments and fulfills them. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, one of the things you'll find about working with me is I'm a man of commitment. Right? When I say I'm going to get something done, you can take it to the bank. Promises made, promises kept. We're going to get you what you want because I am a person of commitment. Right? So we want to give it that kind of energy. So knowledge, skills, and attitudes build our competence in that area. Now, that's competence. Now let's go to the next part, which is communication. And then we'll get to presentation. And I learned this in the Dale Carnegie Institute too. Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, is still in the top 200 of all books on Amazon.com every year. And the book was written 75 years ago. Why? Because it's full of timeless truths. The same thing with MREA. The reason after 17 years, it's still the #1 selling book in the real estate category on Amazon, sold 1.3 million copies, is because it's full of timeless truths. So you want to go back to those timeless truths. And here's what Dale Carnegie says about effective communications and effective human relations. He said, here are the big three. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. He said, the minute you go in to criticize, condemn, or complain, you take yourself to a negative space and you will not relate well to people. And certainly you don't want to do it with them. Even if they're complaining, don't hop on board and complain with them because that never reflects well on you. And of course, in really important working relationships and marriages, my wife and I work at this all the time, to not criticize, condemn, or complain about others, and certainly not about each other, right? So, and then Give honest, sincere appreciation. Probably the most powerful script in the world is thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for doing that, right? Thank you. So give honest, sincere appreciation. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, for opening your home and allowing me to come in and apply for the job of handling the sale of your home, right? Jim Droz, who was one of the finest real estate agents in all of Century 21 when I got in the business. For 3 straight years, he was the #1 agent out of Santa Clarita, California, #1 in all of Century 21. He was one of the most mannerly, laid back, easygoing guys. Here was his prospecting script. He picked a 600 home area where he wanted to be the dominant realtor. And he said, people do business with people they know. I need to get to know them. So in 6 months, he got to know 590 some of the homeowners. And here was his script. Knock, knock, knock. Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner. I know this is your private and personal time, and I'm sorry to interrupt that. I just have one question I'd like to ask. May I ask it? Sure, Jim. Or you'd say, yeah, I'm Jim Droz with Century 21. I just have one question I'd like to ask. May I? And they say, sure, Jim. And he'd say, my commitment is to make this the best possible neighborhood to live in. What one thing could I do or cause to be done that would make this a better place to live? And some would invite him in and they'd talk, and some would just give him an idea, like get that tree cut down at the end of the street that's blocking the stop sign. Or they'd say, yep, can't think of anything. But then he would now be in touch with them twice a month. Here's the thing. In that first 6 months, he took 37 listings. And from then on, his whole career was built. But he was so soft and gentle and mannerly, right? Very, very. He would always let them sit first before he sat at the listing presentation. And then the third one is focus on what other people want. Zig Ziglar said, you will get what you want in direct proportion to the number of people who you help get what they want. And so that's called the platinum rule. Help others get what they want. Be focused on your commitment to getting them what they want in the sale of their home. So don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Give honest, sincere appreciation. Focus on what other people want. Now, here are the supportive 6. Be genuinely interested in other people. Let curiosity drive you. Gary Gentry, the first agent ever to close a deal in Keller Williams, and he and his wife Melanie still run a great team down in Austin. He said, Dave, I can get people to tell me more about them than maybe they've told anybody else. In about half an hour, I can get this because I'm genuinely interested. I ask great questions. I probe them, and they know I'm listening. So be genuinely interested in other people. Really, really important for the connection. About them, it's about them, not you, right? Number 2 is smile. Let your positive energy come out. I know in this age of masks, we can't let our nonverbal behavior show through so well, but smile, let that energy come through. Number 3, remember people's names. It's the word that links you with them is their name. And don't say this to me. Do not say, Dave, I'm not good at remembering names. I've never been good at remembering names. Don't do that. Because you're talking yourself into not being, what kind of a self-message is that? Say, I'm working at getting people's names. I'm working at remembering people's names. Do that, right? So remember people's names. And here's the thing. Here's why it's difficult. It's difficult for everybody. It's a different part of the brain. The part of your brain that builds relationships and really gets to know people is your right brain. The left brain is where all the labels are, where they came from, where they went to school, where they work, what their name is, their kids' names, pets' names, all the labels are on the left. So you have to work to bring them together. And the only thing that does that is attention and repetition. So always write their name down. And if you meet somebody and talk for a while and you haven't gotten it down, say, oh, by the way, I don't know what I was thinking. I didn't get your name. What was that? Oh, Mary. Okay. And you write it down and make sure you get it right. Spell it right if it needs to be, and then use it many times. Dave, thank you very much for allowing me in to earn the right to represent you in the sale of your home. And here's what I'm going to do, Dave. In the next few minutes, I'm going to give you enough information, Dave, for us to place a really reasonable price on the property that'll cause it to sell at the highest possible price. Does that sound good, Dave? See, and so use their name, use it repetitively. It may sound like you're over repeating it to them, but they won't feel that way and you'll get it locked in. So remember people's names. Now, encourage others to talk about themselves. This isn't about you. Have them talk about themselves. And the next one, talk about their interests, not yours. And here's a big mistake. Listen to this carefully that people make. They think that we bond with people with common interests. And that's not exactly true, okay? Particularly in a professional way. So if somebody says, if you say, well, what kind of recreations do you like? Oh, I like golf. You like golf? Oh my God, I'm a golf addict. I love golf. I've got a 5.2 handicap. What's yours? I'm a member of Oak Hill Country Club. Which one are you? Are you a member of a club? Yeah. And what kind of courses have you played that you really liked? I got to play Pebble Beach, right? And you're going on about yourself. And you're sort of pushing them away. You're almost being competitive, right? So don't do that. No me toos. No me toos. This is about them, not you. So when they say, say that you love movies, just you're a movie addict, and they say, oh, yeah, my wife and I love to watch movies. Oh, you do? That's wonderful. What kind of movies do you like? Okay, good. And any particular actresses that you like or directors that you follow? Great. What movies have you seen in the last, month or so that you would recommend to me? That's great. See, use your knowledge to ask them questions about them. But don't do the me too. It's not about you. Talk about them. And then the final thing is make others feel important. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, thank you for letting me here to earn the right to handle the sale of your home. You know that you're the boss, and I know I have to meet your expectations. And by the way, all the time we're working together, I will give you good advice and good information, but you will always get to make the decisions because you're the boss. Right? So let them feel in control, put them in control. And if they have an important position in their work or in their community, honor them for it, or thank you for your service if they're military. So make them feel important, do it sincerely. So here's the support of 6, be genuinely interested in others, smile, remember people's names, work at that, get better at it, encourage others to talk about themselves, talk about their interests, not yours, no me toos, and then make others feel important. Now, so we've dealt with competency and we've dealt with communication. Now let's deal with the heart of our presentation. And it spins around the idea, as Gary Keller says, people have lived before. They've sold real estate successfully. They've learned how to communicate effectively, and they have passed on to us the way to say it. There are powerful ways to say things, and there are mediocre ways to say things. The powerful ways to say things are the scripts. This isn't about a canned presentation. This is about effective communication. Just like the movie script isn't a canned script, the movie script's a powerful script. So the way you do this is the first thing you do is you memorize it. And then you internalize it. You feel the power of it. The more you memorize a script, the more you feel the poetry, the more you feel the rhythm. You can feel the rhythm of the words and why it has emotional power. Then when you say it, you will use that emotional power. You don't change the words. You don't dumb it down to make it sound like you. No, you step up to get the wisdom of why to say it that way. So that's the internalize, right? That's what actors and actresses do. They speed read it. They memorize it exactly as is. Then they add in the emotions to it. And then they can do it in front of the camera. And then customize it, meaning, you only have to, having little, like a toolkit of ways to say things. You don't use them all the time. You build that toolkit, right? So for example, here's one real easy one. Handle the sale of your home. That's a script. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I want to apply for the job of handling the sale of your home. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, when I handle the sale of your home, see, not sell it, market it, list it. That's all that's dumbing it down. No, it's about taking it big, right? It's about handle the sale of your home. It's fiduciary. So there's a good script. It's always say handle the sale of your home. Now, here's the thing that we have to do. We have to work at getting good at memorizing things, because in our day and age with Google and our smartphones and GPS and all of that stuff, we've really kind of slipped that ability to memorize things. So work at memorizing things, people's names, work at memorizing great quotes that you like, great poems. I love to memorize poems. In fact, coming in to this COVID time, I was reminded of Rudyard Kipling's wonderful poem, If you can keep your head while all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself while others doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, not deal in lies, or being hated, not give way to hating, and yet not act too good or talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two imposters just the same. And it goes on for 2 or 3 more verses, and then it ends with, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, then yours is the world and anything that's in it. And more than that, life's battle you'll have won. Fun poem, good poem to have. But I love memorizing things like that. Gary, one of the things I had to do in becoming a Dale Carnegie sales course instructor was memorize tons of things. We had stacks of things to memorize because all their course was very structured. So do things together. That's why doing scripts and having script practices, which you may have in your market centers, do that and bring in new scripts and really master that art of memorizing just as it is, not winging it, not making it your own, but mastering as it is. Memorize it, internalize it, customize it, and then you capitalize on it because you use it, and that makes you effective at selling, right? The power of your words. It's important. Now, let's dive into the listing presentation itself. So you've done the rapport building, you've walked around the home, you've gotten a look at it, all that stuff. You've done your homework ahead of time. So now we're down to the crux of the presentation where they're going to decide whether or not to list with you. And you want to be in control of that. So there's a process. One, you want to set the stage, get their expectations right, get their attention. Then you want to make an effective professional presentation. This is not about now ho-hum communication bonding time. This is where you're professionally making a presentation. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I want to talk with you about the reason that you should list your home with me, okay? And then highlight the key benefits. We're going to talk about that. It's the heart of selling. And then dealing with pricing and staging and explaining your commission. So those are, we're going to focus on those things right now. So let's dive in. First great script to learn is Mike Ferry's 1-minute listing presentation. Goes like this. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I've written down 3 very important questions. May I ask them? 1, do you absolutely have to sell your home? 2, are you willing to price it to sell? And 3, would you like me to handle the sale for you? Right now, that's the script. Now, let me tell you how that might work. It's called the 1-minute listing presentation. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I've written down 3 very important questions. May I ask them? First, do you absolutely have to sell your home? Oh yeah, Dave, we've got to be gone in like 6 or 8 weeks. Yeah, we need to get it sold. Great. 2, are you willing to price it to sell? Oh yeah, you'll tell us, we've got to get it sold. So we want to get the most we can, but you'll tell us what price to put it at. Okay, great, thanks. And would you like me to handle the sale for you? Absolutely, Dave, you come so highly recommended. Yeah, we want to list our home with you. Great, let's get started. See, you've gotten 3 yeses. You're done. There's no more listing presentation to do. Now you're going to do the work. Fill out the paperwork, do the contract, decide on a price, do the CMA, let them know what steps we're going to take in getting their home sold, when it's going to go on the market. You get to work, right? You've just done a 1-minute listing presentation. You got 3 yeses. Well, but Dave, you don't always get 3 yeses. Of course you don't. So let me show you why this is so magical. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I've written down 3 very important questions. May I ask them? First, do you absolutely have to sell your home? Well, no, not really. We really love living here, Dave. And, we just thought we'd put it on the market, see what it might get. Great, thank you. Are you willing to price it to sell? Well, we need to get at least $900,000 for it. We need to get at least $900,000. Okay, good, got it. And 3, would you like me to handle the sale for you? Well, we're interviewing you and we're going to interview 2 other agents too. Wonderful. Let's get started. You ready? See, now you haven't bought into any of what they've said except you've registered it. The answer to your first question tells you motivation. Are they motivated? The one you just heard, I might not want to take this listing because they don't sound very motivated and I'm not going to work just to put their home on the market to see what it would get, right? So I have to check their motivation. I'm not going to assume that they're not motivated. I'm going to check it out. Number 2, are you willing to price it to sell? And they say 900,000, and I know maybe they get 780, 790 at the most. Then I know I have an education to do with them about the price. So the first one's about motivation. The second one's about education. And the third one's about commitment. Would you like me to handle the sale for you? Well, we're interviewing, 2 other agents, and you say, okay, but you need to be very convincing and get them to the point where they're ready to say, Dave, please handle the sale for us. And you can say, oh, by the way, I'll let those 2 other agents know that they're certainly free to bring their qualified buyers to look at your home, but we've got the listing handled. Okay, I'll do that. Be happy to do that for you, right? So just understand this. That's what those questions are for. They're to give you a sense of where you are in the game. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I've written down 3 very important questions, right? To make it feel immediate. May I ask them? 1, do you absolutely have to sell your home? 2, are you willing to price it to sell? And 3, would you like me to handle the sale for you, right? Shaking your head positively, of course. Nonverbals matter. So that's called setting the stage, right? And you can get the listing presentation done in a minute. Now, here's the second one, and that is that a lot of times they don't know how long this is going to take, and their attention may not be there. They may be thinking about their shopping list or Christmas list or homeschooling or whatever it is. So we have to get their attention and their focus. And that's what this one does, called the 3 outcomes. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, at the end of our meeting, one of 3 things will happen. 1, you will decide to have me handle the sale for you. Number 2 is you will decide not to list for me. Or 3, I will decide not to take your listing. Any of those 3 is okay with me. Does that make sense? Well, wow. See, right now they know, uh-oh, we got to make a decision. We better pay attention. I can tell by his assertiveness, it's not going to be a think about it time, right? We need to pay attention now. And 1, he might not take our listing. And of course they might say, well, Dave, why wouldn't you take our listing? We say, well, I'm in the job of getting things done and helping and satisfying people, exceeding their expectations. And if I think I can't do that, then I'm going to let you be free to go ahead and talk to other agents, right? And they go, oh, okay. See, they know you're willing to walk. And it's really good to always remember, it gives you power when you're willing to walk. One of the things that Mike Ferry taught me was sometimes it's best to fire a seller where it's not going very well. They're complaining. They're always, telling you, why didn't you do this? And why aren't we doing this? And you go, you know what, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'll tell you what, I think it's time for us to move on. I'm going to let you out of the listing and you're happy to go find somebody else. And we'll move on and still be friends, okay? Well, no, Dave, why? Well, I can tell you're not very happy with how things are going. Well, no, I know we've been kind of upset. We're a little stressed out, I think, but no, we want you to handle it. So see, so they may talk you back into it. Or you may say, I think it's just time. It's not working out. Let's both move on, stay friends. I'll let you out of the listing. How's that sound? Dave, that sounds good. Let's do that. Yep, let's move on, right? That may say that, then fine. You have just unloaded a place of stress for you when you do that, right? So the other thing that happens in listing presentations is you don't want them to take very long. There's no reason that they need to go for more than 30 minutes or 45 minutes, the presentation and the decision making. You may have more work to do afterwards, but the presentation shouldn't take that long. So one of the things is to put a time limit on. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, at the end of our meeting, which should only take about 30 minutes, 45 at the most, one of 3 things will happen. You will decide to have me handle the sale for you, or 2, you will decide not to list with me, or 3, I will decide not to take your listing. And by the way, any of those 3 is okay with me. Okay, does that make sense? Good, let's get started. 3 outcomes, get their attention. Very important to get their attention. Don't let it wander. Now, here's another one. A lot of people don't know how long your presentation is going to take or what's going to happen. So it's always good to tell people, here's what's going to happen next. That's true everywhere. When you get the listing, you say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, let me tell you what's going to happen next. Here's the timetable for what we're going to do. People always like that you as the pro can tell them what's going to happen next. And this is called the safe island. And I learned this from Floyd Wickman. And he said, because people want to know what's going to happen next in your presentation. Now, this also shows another memory technique, and it's called stacking. And I want you to think about this. Think of a stack. On the bottom of the stack is the letter B followed by the number 4 in bright pink, B4. On top of that is a stopwatch with only 1 minute on it. You think 1 minute. On top of that is a set of steps, 4 steps. And they're numbered 1, 2, 3, 4. On the top step are a bunch of question marks all globbed together. On top of the question marks is the shopping cart, what we're going to call a market basket full of number. And we're going to think market and numbers, right? Market. On top of that is a jail cell. It's the window with bars on it, a prisoner behind it, and you think jail cell, right? And then coming out of the top of the jail cell is a spiral staircase with steps, and you're going to think steps, right? So what's on the bottom? Before, then 1 minute, then 4 steps, then question marks, then market basket, then jail cell, and on top of that, steps. And here's how that goes. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, before we begin, may I take a minute to tell you how I work? Basically, I use a 4-step process. 1, I'm going to ask you a series of questions so I can get a clear idea of what you want to accomplish and how I can help. 2nd, I'll give you enough market information for you to make a rational decision about the price to place on your property. And 3rd, I'm going to honestly sell you on the benefits of working with me and my company and how we get the results to do. And when you hire me to handle the sale of your home, I will tell you step by step all the things I will do to cause your home to sell. How's that sound? Good. So that's called a stack. Anytime you're teaching a course or giving a presentation, a stack is a great thing. I teach a learning scripts and dialogues class for 3 hours where people stand there. They don't have any writing materials. They don't have any technology. I don't have any notes or writing material, no PowerPoint, no technology. And for 3 hours with a couple of breaks, we just master scripts. I demonstrate it. Then we do it back and forth together. Then they role play it. Then we do it back and forth together. And then we move on to the next script. And we do that. And I do all that without any notes because I've got all 18 scripts stacked. I've got an object for each one stacked, and I have it in my memory. So if you're doing a presentation, creating a stack is a great way to keep yourself mentally organized, okay? Now, here's the heart of selling. I learned this in the Dale Carnegie Institute. This is what great persuasive people do, right? It's a combination of facts, benefits, and feelings. Facts, benefits, feelings. Just remember that threesome. Facts, benefits, feelings. Facts are what I do or what's going to happen. Benefits are what you get or why this is important to you. And feelings are how you will feel after we do that, right? Facts, benefits, feeling. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, here's what I do, which means that this is what you will get. And then therefore you will feel this way. So let me give you a couple of examples. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I will give you enough market information that is updated so that you are very clear as to what the best price is we can place on your property and get it sold. And that'll give you that feeling of satisfaction that you got the highest possible price for your property. How's that sound? Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you can ask me questions anytime, but I am going to report to you regularly every week as to the progress of the sale. And you will therefore know the steps we're moving through and how we're getting closer and closer to the sale of your home and the closing, which gives you that feeling so that you're being respected and listened to and you know what's going on. How's that sound? Yeah. Good. As I said, here's another one. As I said, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm a master of contracts. So I will be reviewing the 75 or 85 pages of legal documents that are a part of this transaction. And I will do this on your behalf and make sure there are no mistakes, which means that you can know that you're confident in being able to sign those and you can feel secure that we're doing the right thing and your interests have been protected. Does that make sense? Okay, so just understand this. As you make your sales presentation, anytime you're asking anyone to do anything, it's about here's what I do or we're going to do. Here are the benefits that you get or we get, and here's the feelings we will have when we come out of this, and really work on the feeling lens, right? So like getting peace of mind and relaxation, respected and listened to, and feeling confident and secure and satisfied and well-being and happiness and joy. I mean, all of that, be really good with that emotional outcome language. All right, pay close attention. Here we go. Here's the heart of a great listing presentation. Here's the heart of it right here. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, there's really 3 reasons to list your home with me. 1, you can trust me. 2, I will answer all your questions. And 3, I will protect you all the way through closing. Does that sound good? Shall we get started? Good. That's it. See, to me, that's the heart of a listing presentation. It's not about your credentials and what you've done and how many homes you've sold and, you know, satisfaction levels and all that stuff. That can be in your marketing materials. But when it comes down to their decision, there's only three things that matter. Can they trust you? Will you take them seriously? And will you protect them and make sure the right things happen? Right? That's what they care about. And you want to assert that, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. There's three reasons to list with me. One, you can trust me. Two, I will answer all your questions. And three, I will protect you all the way through closing. Now you can expand it. You can say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, there's really three reasons to list with me. One, you can trust me. People have said, Dave, we trust our children with you. We trust our bank account with you. I'm a person who gains trust and can be trusted. You can trust me. Number two is I will answer all your questions. And I'm a professional, so I know what I know and I know what I don't. If I know, I'll give you the right answer. If I don't know, I've got this incredible company, Keller Williams, behind me, and I will get you the right answer. But I will always take you seriously and answer your questions. And three, I will protect you all the way to closing. I will review all the legal documents. I'll make sure if there's any issues, they get solved all the way. And I will always be looking out that you are getting what you want in this transaction. I will protect you all the way through closing. So you see, you can expand the language, but the heart of it, really memorize the heart of it. Just practice this. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, there's three reasons fundamentally to list with me. One, you can trust me. Two, I will answer all your questions. And three, I will protect you all the way through closing. Powerful, powerful. Now, people may want more details, and here's the magic we have in MREA. MREA is just a magical book full of magical pages. Page 95 is a listing presentation on one page. You could make a photocopy of that and take it into a prospective seller and just read it. And that would be better than 95% of all listing presentations they're going to ever get. Why? Because it's going to tell exactly what you're going to do. And then on page 151 are the 14 ways you market a home to cause it to sell. Right? And those two combinations are great. So you would say at this point, so how much, you know, there's really a bunch of fundamental things that I do to serve you and get your home sold. How much detail would you like me to go into? Well, Dave, no, don't worry with the detail. I know you'll give us, you know, you'll give us what we need to know when we need to know it. Let's just get started. They may do that, or they may say, yeah, Dave, yeah, tell us, what is it that you do? And you say, well, really, there's fundamentally 10 things I do to serve you and cause your home to sell. Number one is I'm going to ask a lot of questions and do a thorough needs analysis so I know your priorities, your plans, and how I can help you achieve them. Number two is I'm going to give you enough market information to make an intelligent pricing strategy so we can get the highest possible price for your home. And three, I will therefore, as part of that, recommend any repairs that we should do up front or any staging we do to compete effectively against the other homes that people are looking at. So again, we get the most for your home. And number four is I will decide with you, we'll look at the 14 ways in which I market a property and decide what's appropriate for your sale. And then five, my job really begins when we get our first offer. I have to evaluate that, see if we're going to take our home off the market, if we feel this is legitimate, and then if we have multiple offers or if they are coming back to us, then we negotiate the final contract, and I will effectively make sure that that final contract serves your interest and has the right terms in it. And as a result of that negotiation, we may, number seven, have some things we need to repair because it's been asked for. And I have vendors that'll do that. I'll get us prices. I'll oversee it. I'll coordinate the repairs. And then finally, as I said, there's going to be 75, 85 pages of legal documents. I will review all those, make sure they're accurate, make sure they're filled out right, make sure no one's trying to take advantage of you so that we are prepared for closing. And then, of course, I'll be there at closing with you to advise you and resolve any final problems. And finally, after closing, I want to be your realtor for life. So I'll help you in making your move. In fact, do you have an agent in the city where you're moving to that's helping you buy? Because if you don't, I can get you a great agent there. And then that agent and I can coordinate the sale, the purchase there with the sale here. It's wonderful. Would you like me to do that for you? Great, happy to. And then one final thing is that the sale of your home is a tax event. So I will give you all the appropriate paperwork and numbers you need to take to your CPA or your tax prep person when you file next year's taxes. That all sound good? Great. Any questions? Wonderful. Let's get after it. right? So you just want to memorize this list of 10 things. It's powerful because it's more detailed than any other agent's going to tell them about what they do. Now, there's a few concepts that we want to really get good at sharing that differentiates us and makes us stand out above the crowd. One is that we're a fiduciary. As Gary Keller said, every client needs a fiduciary agent who helps them make the right decisions and take the right actions at the moments of truth in a transaction. We call that a fiduciary, but people don't know the term fiduciary, so we need to know quickly a script for how do we explain it to them. So, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I am licensed by the state of Virginia to represent you in the sale of your home. And I will always place your interests above the interests of all other parties, including my own. I am committed to get you the highest possible price in the shortest time with a minimum of inconvenience to you. Does that sound good? Yeah. So that's the way you explain fiduciary, right? Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I am licensed by the state of Virginia, see higher authority. I am licensed by the state of Virginia to represent you, not represent other sellers, represent buyers, represent people. No. To represent you in the sale of your home. And I will always place your interest above the interest of all other parties, including my own. And I'm committed to get you the highest price in the shortest time with a minimum of inconvenience to you. I will tell you, see, no other agent will come on with that level of authority and service and clarity than you. Master that script. Now, Linda McKissick said, and Linda McKissick went from failing out of real estate in 91 to the seventh level in 1999, 8 years later. She went from almost failing out of real estate to the point where she had a team, the McKissick Group, our systems are your solution. That was their motto. And she did 352 closed sales in 1999. She had 4 admins, 5 buyer specialists, 2 listing specialists, and a manager running it for her. She wasn't even there. She was only spending, she said, 4 to 5 hours a week overseeing it. That's called seventh level. That's out of MREA. Get that under that vision in mind. But she said, Dave, the first thing I had to learn was how to say things in powerful ways. She said, I was kind of a country girl, just tell it like it is, what you see is what you get. And I realized I was boring. I was not an effective salesperson. And she said, then I saw other agents who were really good and I loved the way they talked and I started to imitate that. And then I learned that it's all about scripts and dialogues. You have to learn how to state the obvious in emotionally powerful ways. And I said, well, what do you mean? Give me an example. She said, well, here's one. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, when you hire me to handle the sale of your home, I will immediately tomorrow morning notify all the other realtors in the area that 1, it's on the market, 2, its best features and why they should bring their qualified buyers to see it. Would you like me to do that? Oh yeah, Linda, that'd be great. Please do that. Oh, what's she talking about, right? A mediocre agent's going to say, oh yeah, we'll put it in the MLS and we'll put a sign in the yard. Boring. But what you're doing is you're doing this for them and this is beneficial to them. So learn to state, as Linda said, the obvious things you do, but state them in ways that they come across with the benefits to your sellers. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, when you hire me out to handle the sale of your home, I will immediately tomorrow morning notify all the other realtors in the area that it's on the market, its best features, and why they should bring their qualified buyers to see it. Should I do that? Okay. Master these kind of scripts. Now, here's another one about advertising. I learned this from Althea Osborne. I mean, she worked with top exec companies. In fact, here was her. I want to just share with you her lead generation activity. She would watch these little tech companies building in Austin, and she would find out who the owner was, and she'd go in and say, "Jim, hi, I'm Althea Osborne with Keller Williams, and I see you're building this company here, and I'd like to apply to be on your recruiting team." They go, "Our recruiting team? What do you mean, Althea?" And she'd go, "Well, I know you're trying to get really talented people to move here and be with you in Austin. And when they come in for an interview, I'll give them an area tour. I'll tell them why this is such a great place to live. I'll have them meet with other people who have moved here. And, you know, if you decide to hire them and they come back, I'll even help them find a home." Isn't that interesting? The last thing was, I'll help them find a home. The first thing was, I want to help you recruit. And she became one of their key recruiters. She did. They would call her after somebody left and say, "What do you think of that person?" What did they have to say when they were talking with you? You know, and they would use her information in making their hiring. And of course, they all listed their homes and bought their homes with Althea. But she said, later, I started to get these very high priced homes. And this issue, she said, would come up all the time. They'd say, Althea, we want to work with you, but where are you going to advertise our home? And here's what she said, Jim, let me educate you about how real estate really works. See, ads don't sell homes, realtors do. And I'm already investing half of my commission as an incentive for the best agents to bring their qualified buyers to your home. And as your agent, I will never waste your money. And I certainly wouldn't waste my own. That's a powerful script in two ways, three ways actually. One is you're taking charge, you're being assertive. Let me educate you about how real estate really works. Take charge. You are the one that knows this, right? They don't know real estate and the sale of real estate like you do. Number two is you're really talking about what happens to the commission and how the real sale of their home happens on this platform called the MLS with co-broking. See, when I got in the real estate business, a lot of brokers wouldn't co-broke. So the maturity of the real estate industry is that we've gotten to co-broke, but don't give it away. That still is your commission. And help them understand that this is where the advertising cost is. This is where the marketing cost is. It's in the use of the realtor platform. So, and then the final thing is you're making it clear about whether they think it's their money or your money, you're not going to waste it. So this is powerful in three ways, Mr. and Mrs. Jim. So let me educate you about how real estate really works. Ads don't sell homes, realtors do. And I'm already investing half of my commission as an incentive for the best agents to bring their qualified buyers to your home. And as your agent, I will never waste your money, and I certainly wouldn't waste my own. Isn't that powerful? Now, the other thing is to learn how to talk about the company you're with in a powerful way. We used to say when we were brand new and just opening up around the country, right? We only had 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 agents in the whole company. And they'd say, well, I'd love to list with you, but I've never heard of this Keller. What is it, Keller? Oh yeah, Keller Williams. Let me tell you about Keller Williams. Keller Williams is the newest, most innovative, fastest growing real estate company in America and right here in Virginia. And they go, oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. And that's why I'm with Keller Williams. Exciting company, right? But now it's a different thing. Now we're 40% larger than any other real estate company in the world and more productive. And so we say, yeah, let me take a minute, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, to tell you about Keller Williams. Keller Williams is the largest, most innovative, and highly respected real estate company in the world. And then here's the kicker. Make sure they understand what it is, how unique it is for you to be an agent in Keller Williams. And I'm with Keller Williams because at Keller Williams, I'm a partner in the business. I get to share in the profits. I have a say in all the decisions. And more important than that, I am empowered to do whatever it takes to best serve you. Isn't that powerful? Those are power comes in threes. And just remember this, that's what it means to be a partner in Keller Williams. You can share in the profits. Half of all profits are shared with agents, right? Through the profit share system. And you have a say through the ALC and all the decisions, all the way up to the top of the company in the International Agent Leadership Council. And within law and ethics, you are empowered to run your business the way you want to, right? So when you say that, and I'm with Keller Williams because at Keller Williams, I'm a partner in the business. I get to share in the profits. I have a say in the decision-making. And more important than that, I am empowered to do whatever it takes to best serve you. Set you apart, be assertive, talk about who you are. Now, pricing, let's deal with pricing and staging. So the thing to remember in this is you are always on their side. It's never adversarial. It's not your price versus their price and all that stuff. It's always you're on their side. So someone says, well, we really need to get a lot more for our house than the kind of things you're showing us, Dave. And you go, oh, I understand. And by the way, you understand my commitment. My commitment is to get you the highest possible price for your home. And I will never back off that. Here's the thing we're both dealing with. The market is going to determine what your home sells for. Today's current buyers are going to decide, amongst themselves what they're willing to pay for your home. And remember, in every market, it's really two markets. There's homes that are on the market that are overpriced, and don't look very good, and they're only getting a few showings and no offers. Then there's homes that are in the market. They're priced right, they look good, and they're not only getting offers, they're getting multiple offers. So my job is not to list your home and put it on the market. My job is to make sure that we are in the market. By the way, all that's on chapter 7 of 7 and 8 of the book Shift, right? So I want to make sure that we're in the market, because we want to take advantage of this window of opportunity. When we put your home in the market, we've got about 10 days to 2 weeks to get the highest possible price for your home. Because once we put your home in the market, the whole market, all the agents and all the buyers they're working with turn their attention to us. And if we make a bad first impression, we're overpriced or there's repair issues or whatever, we lose their attention, and it's very hard to get it back. And the one thing we don't want to do is chase the market. If the market's going up, I price ahead of it. If the market's coming down, we price ahead of it. But the research always shows that if you price it right and stage it right, you will get the highest possible price in that 10-day to 2-week window. Are you ready to go after that? Yeah. That's how you talk about pricing. That's how you talk about it. And you let the numbers tell us what the best way is to get the highest possible price, because this is the way it works. And finally, someone says, well, Dave, would you cut your commission? And you go, I really understand. You want to get your money's worth. I understand that. I'm a shopper too. And I love this real estate business. In fact, there's days I feel like I would do it for free, but I don't think my family would really appreciate that. So let me just tell you, because a lot of people don't understand what happens to the commission. And let me explain what does happen. First of all, half of it, 3%, goes to the company or agent that brings us a qualified buyer to your home. So in a sense, that's not a commission, it's a marketing fee. That's kind of really what it is. Of the remaining 3%, 1/3 of it goes to my company, the #1 company in the world, that I pay them to be part of their great company. And another 1/3 of it goes to my business expenses, right? My technology, my staffing, my marketing. And so only 1/3 of it, only 1% goes to me and my family. And you would understand that I can't cut that, right? Yeah, let's go. So here's the thing I just want to say to you. A lot of people really think the whole commission goes to you. And what you need to have them understand is no, it doesn't. This is what happens to the commission. It's to get their home sold at the highest possible price and the biggest net to them. And the whole real estate community, the company you're with, the whole MLS, all of that is part of making that happen. And the part of it that you get paid for is a small part. And the other is, do not be embarrassed for your commission. This is a good deal for sellers. I promise you, it's a good deal for sellers. And I know an agent in San Antonio that says, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, just before we begin, I want you to know that I charge 1% more than other agents in the area. They charge 5.5 or 6%. I charge 7% because I know I'm worth it and I will get you more money for your home. Does that make sense? Just want you to know ahead of time, right? So they stand up with great energy and great confidence and great assertiveness, all right? So let's close this with a look at the most powerful and important sales presentation you will ever make. And then we'll open it up for questions. By the way, for those of you who would like a copy of this presentation, all these slides, and I have another document called Dave's Favorite Scripts, which includes a lot of other scripts that we didn't cover today. And the Bill of Rights, the Assertiveness Bill of Rights, if you'd like a copy of that. And the Rudyard Kipling poem, if you want that, I'll send those 4 things to you. All you have to do is write me, dave@kw.com, dave@kw.com. Give me 3 ahas that you got. Gary and Keller and I believe in ahas. When you have an aha, that means you get it and you're going to implement it. So send me 3 ahas that you got from this presentation to dave@kw.com. Any other comments you want to make, and I will within a day get you those 4 documents I said, including this entire presentation. All right. So let me just conclude with this. To me, the most powerful sales talk you'll ever give is to yourself. And it's the power of sales talk. It's the way you talk to yourself about yourself and your intentions and what you're doing. And here's the kind of words I would use. I am in a skill-based sales profession that is not easy to do. It takes a lot of knowledge, it takes a lot of skill, and it takes a lot of tenacity and resilience and positive attitude. And I am mastering those skills. I'm putting in the time, the practice, hard and long and often, because I am going to be a master at this. I am going to master every aspect of being a powerful real estate agent. And as I master that, it's increasing my confidence. I can feel my confidence increase. I feel more confident in a listing presentation. I know what I'm going to say. I know the value of what I bring to the table, the details of that value, not just the self-serving things I could say. I have the confidence that comes with the competence. And others can feel that positive energy from me. And it makes them want to list with me. It makes them want to work with me. And therefore, I'm taking more listings. And then I'm getting, those are sold. And the people in the neighborhood are seeing that they sell. And I'm building a core of advocates who refer me to other people. And I'm building the momentum of my life and my life in real estate. I love it. I love the work, and it's worth the effort. And then I'm doing what Gary Keller says. You know, it's all in my mind and what I'm doing, just like he has in this great company he's built. I think big, I aim high, and I act bold. And there we go.
All right, Dave, that was amazing. I've
Awesome.
taken loads of notes. If
Well,
anybody,
good. Even Kay is taking notes. That's a good sign.
I always do. I always learn something very powerful from
Thank you. And if anyone has any comment, any questions or ahas, anything you just want to, just unmute yourself and let us know.
Absolutely. And if they want to put it in the chat, I'm certainly happy to read
That's
it
right.
as
Yes.
well. Yep.
Chat it in and Kay can ask it either way.
Right now, we got some great feedback. It was all wonderful. It's amazing. Thank you so much. Great content. I'm trying to read it as fast as it comes. Oh my word, best ever. Wonderful. Best training I've done. More amazing.
Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that. That all feels good. It feels right. That's my intention, to deliver good stuff and that you can use.
And I'll read you my ahas. If ever, competence creates confidence.
Yes.
I need to master the art of influence and state the obvious in an emotionally powerful way.
Yeah, that's it about scripts and dialogues. It's not inventing something brand new. It's taking that which is true and stating in a way that has power because it impacts the other person about what they're getting. Right. So it's like that idea of, instead of just, I'm going to put your home on the MLS, it's no, I'm going to notify all the other realtors that your home's on the market, its best features and why they should bring. And then there's the justification. They should bring their qualified buyers to see it. So that's why we're always using language that goes a little higher, like Althea Osborne says, I'm already investing half the money, so that the best agents, not just other agents, the best agents are bringing their qualified buyers to your home. So you always state things in the most impactfully powerful way you can.
Absolutely. So we've got one here. I took the language of sales. I need my glasses because I'm getting to that age. But this one is amazing. Being an expat and not from sales, this was remarkable and what I needed. So that's awesome.
Well, good. It's interesting because for a lot of us who aren't from selling, come into this like I did. I came in from academe. I came in from being a professor and a college person. And I kind of had this elitist attitude that if you couldn't do anything else, you sold something, right? And so I really looked down my nose at salespeople till I understood how, at the level of communication, great salespeople work. They bond with people, they build trust. And then, of course, in a service-oriented business like ours, they have the competence to deliver on what they say they're going to do. And that's how they build their reputation.
Absolutely. So, and Sierra has maybe we'll end on this one. Sierra has her first listing presentation on Friday, and she feels so ready after this. Thank you, Dave.
Well, good. And that's one of the things is that it doesn't matter if it's your first one, your intention. See, if you're a person of intention, and if you've been working to master the contracts, but also if the people you have like Kay and your broker and all the people, your team leader, the people behind, and other great agents, because in Keller Williams, we all share with each other, they're all behind you. So you're out there in a sense, bringing all of that to your prospective client. And the thing that will win the day for them is your sincerity, your attitude, and your commitment to help them get what they want. And all the rest is details.
Super. So she's getting a lot of support. So we'll get some feedback on that. And if you want to send me those, the favorite scripts and the Bill of Rights and the.
No, okay. No, now here's the, so here's the thing. So you're willing to send that out to everybody,
Yes.
but I call that welfare.
Okay.
Okay. And what I'm a free enterprise guy and people earning it. So I only want those who send me their 3 ahas to have earned the right to get the materials. Right? Because what I find is that when you just give things away to people, they don't value them.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If they have to do something to earn it, then they value it. So, okay, people have to give me their 3 ahas.
I know. Actually, Tanya, thank you. She's already sent hers, so that's good. So is Pauline, and and you heard mine, so I will text you mine.
Yeah, for sure. No, do text me them, please, Kate, do. And I will send you the materials too, of course.
Absolutely. But I promise I'm not going to give it away for free. So they're going
not free. No, at least give some time here. You know, wait till you're doing a listing clinic later, then you can do whatever you want with it.
Well, we really appreciate your time with us today. It's been phenomenal.
Thank you, my friend.
Notes I know everybody else has. So
thank you. Say hi to Tipper and your whole team. What a wonderful organization you've built. You know, Keller Williams is the company of synergy. And we get leaders like all of you together, and then the quality of what you bring to your agents is amazing.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. And we will, I hope to see everybody tonight at our comedy event for holidays. If you don't know what I'm talking about,